Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by my channel, Tony's LPs Are Us. Hope everyone's doing well. Before I start, thank you for watching, thank you for subbing. If you're just stumbling on LPs Are Us now and you like what you see or you like what I'm saying, please subscribe, please like. We really appreciate it. So I hope everyone's doing well. This is a topic that, or an experience that I think happens to a lot of us. I don't think everyone's ever spoken about it via the VC community, but it happens to me quite often with records, with albums, with artists, with movies, and that's the serendipitous thread where something happens that's all connected, and it's all connected in a good way. I'll give you a couple examples. It's July 8, 2023. I'm going through my records. I want to hear something live. Pull out a record. Could be anybody. Could be, say Dire Straits or Grand Funk. And I'm getting ready to get into it. And I see that it was recorded on July 8, 1970. And today is July 8, 2023. Now, I've had that happen quite a bit. I have an Ellington record that was recorded in 1940, but it was recorded October 8, 1940, and I pulled it out on October 8, 2022. And I remember these things because that's just, it gives me chills. It's just so strange. There's so many examples of that. So this is an experience about like a number of these feelings. It all comes together. And it all starts with John Lennon. Now, John Lennon's murder happened a few days ago in 1980. It was December 8. Today's, when I'm recording this, it's the 12th of December. Now, I didn't celebrate his death. I didn't do like a memorial or a tribute. There's enough of the stuff on that. I was depressed enough about it, just thinking about it. So that passed. Then the other day, going through last night or so, going through my, my records, and once in a while I go through stuff and I pull stuff out to either do a short or to listen to something I haven't heard in a long time. And I'm by Bowie, I'm by Bad Company, and I just happen to see I have a few of these records, a few of this artist. And that's the B-52's. I said, oh, that's interesting. I haven't listened to Rock Lobster in a long time. And I didn't really remember that Rock Lobster was on here, but I pulled them out, and I got the one with Rock Lobster. This is an OG and Shrink and all that good stuff. So, I listened to Rock Lobster, and I'm going, oh, man, this is a great song, It's a great song. And then I'm watching VC, a lot of memorials on John Lennon, showing his records, showing this record, his last record, that he was alive when he recorded. This is a promo, Double Fantasy, recorded at the Hit Factory, New York City. This was recorded August 7th to October 19, 1980, and John died in December of 1980, murdered, let me just say that. So that's one thing. Then the next day I go to my thrift shop looking for records, not looking for magazines. So going through magazines. Now this was a bundle. I picked up all these magazines. These are in mint condition, and I normally don't buy a lot of books anymore because I don't have room. But these were cool. I'm into Keith Richards. Don't have it. This was good because it had interviews with Robert Plant. It's a Jimmy Fallon issue, but it had an interview with Robert Plant. This has the making of Exile on Main Street, Rolling Stone, so I wanted that. This has why the Beatles broke up. So it was a couple of different eras, different years, but they're all cool. Rolling Stone's not what it once was. These were all from 2009, 2010. This is from 2011, and this one is how this serendipitous story continues. So I get this, and I didn't read them right away. Put them on the side, and then last night again, I'm going through. There's nothing on TV. I'm tired of watching the news. There was no movies I wanted to watch. Shut off YouTube. Usually I watch a lot of YouTube on my phone, and I want to thank everyone else for that. So remember, I mentioned Rock Lobster, 1978 was released. B-52's, 147 greatest songs of all time, etc., 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 etc. So, has all the cool stuff. Haven't listened to it probably, and I would say my copy. I've heard it all on the radio, maybe in the car, but I haven't listened to my vinyl copy in a long time. Here's the inner. There's the record. So, haven't listened to that. Been hearing a lot about John's death. Go to the thrift shop to look for records. Don't find records, but I find this. Now, the reason I bought this bundle, this was on top. They were bundled together. You can see I paid $1 for all of these. There was a lot more magazines there, but I gotta say enough is enough. Even though I wanted them for that price to keep or to, pass forward or whatever, I didn't do it. Now, this was interesting because this was the Lost Lennon tapes. Let me just do this. This was the Lost Lennon tapes. 3 days before he died, John Lennon talked with Rolling Stone for 9 hours. For the first time, we present this extraordinary interview. John's last days, an intimate remembrance by Yoko Ono. If you remember that day, I believe he was photographed by Annie Leibovitz. That was the famous shot on the album cover. I believe that's Annie Leibovitz. Here's a nice promo sticker there. So anyway, I start thumbing through it, and I'm listening to, I'm reading. I don't have any music on. I don't listen to music and read anymore. When I listen, it's critical listening. So I'm reading Yoko's remembrance. Very sad. She talks about how John kept on after the album was done, Double Fantasy. He was working on another project, Walking on Thin Ice, another song, and they quote the song. She talks about that. So I'm going through the preamble of the interview where, John's just talking to the interviewer from Rolling Stone. That's Jonathan Colt. This is called The Last Interview. And they knew each other because they met back in the early days, and John respected Jonathan Colt, and he was able to he did that interview with him. So I'm reading it, and then I get to this passage where John is talking about why he stopped being a house husband, why he went back into the studio, why he thought that 5 years of hiatus from his solo career was enough. They were raising Sean. Sean was, I guess five or a little bit at the time. So I'm just going to read this. This is about the quintessential serendipity that I was shocked to read. Okay, now remember, pull out Rock Lobster. He had just died a few days ago. I found these books, The Last Interview, which is weird. Why it was still there, why someone didn't buy it. I don't know, because this store is pretty busy. So anyway, I read this passage. And this is part of an excerpt from Wikipedia. Also, it quotes this Rolling Stone interview. In the spring of 1980, John Lennon, whose post-Beatles music career had been on hiatus for nearly 5 years while focusing on raising his son Sean, was prompted to record again after hearing Rock Lobster. According to Lennon, and that's from this interview, according to Lennon, it sounds just like Ono's music. So I said to myself, it's time to get out the old axe and wake the wife up, meaning Yoko. He usually calls her mother. His return to the studio led to the release of 1980's Double Fantasy, which would be his final album. At a 2002 B-52 concert in New York, Yoko Ono joined the band on stage for the performance of the song Rock Lobster. Now, if you listen to Rock Lobster, you have these weird, obscure sounds from Kate Pearson and Cindy Wilson. Cindy Wilson's doing the lower pitch. Kate Pearson's doing a high pitch, but it's almost like animal sounds. It's almost like squeaking. It's very Yoko Ono. It's a dance tune. It's not disco. It's just a fun party album. This whole album is incredible. They recorded this album for $35,000. Most of it was done live. They went to, I believe they went to the Bahamas, Compass Studios, I believe, which was a Chris Blackwell studio. He was there. So, and that came out in 78. So John heard it a couple years later or whenever, or a year later, and said, wow, this is so Yoko Ono. This is Yoko's music. And if you listen to it, it is. And they actually, the B-52 members, in some interviews I listened to or watched on YouTube, basically said, yeah, we love Yoko. We dig Yoko. And then later on, in the year 2000 or so, she got on stage and somewhere performed it. Now, another weird aspect of all this was that a couple weeks ago, I'm going through, and maybe that's why I thought about pulling this Rock Lobster on my feed on the algorithm on YouTube. Their 1978 appearance, I believe it was 1978 appearance on Saturday Night Live came on, of B-52's performing Rock Lobster. And it was so cool. And I didn't pull it then because I had just heard it. I looked at it. Subsequently did a short about it. And all this happened after I did that short on the B-52's, as far as reading the Lennon interview. The Lennon interview was just so, coincidental, so serendipitous that I had to share it with you guys. So that's my story. That's just a little weird thing. I wanted to see what, if this happened to you. It happens to me a lot with music, and I gave some examples that come to mind. But, listen to the record. Day later, pulled out this article, and John Lennon mentions Rock Lobster, Yoko Ono. So, thanks a lot. I hope I explained myself well, because I have there's a lot to compact and unpack. So that's it. Hope you like it. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. Keep rocking, and rest in peace, John. And if you haven't checked out this album, B-52's, their debut album. By the way, this is incorrect. B-52's with a possessive apostrophe was incorrect, and the band said that subsequent albums were, subsequent records were correct. It was just B-52S, not possessive, but all the reissues still have that on it, which is the way it should be. So that's it. So get involved with the B-52's. Listen to Double Fantasy. It's just like starting over. That album went to #1. It was a Grammy winner for '81. Unfortunately, it probably won the Grammy for Best Album of the Year because John was shot. So that's how things happen, right? So keep rocking. Thanks for listening. Like I said, I hope I explained this correctly. We all have these moments when that's a weird coincidence, but that's serendipity. So all these things come together, and the conclusion is, or the reward at the end of the tunnel is something fun. So keep that in mind, and let me know if it happened to you, especially if it happened to you with music. That's what usually happens to me with music, even movies. So keep rocking. Talk to you later. Thanks again.